Welcome to the second session of week 4. In this session, we'll explore the trends of crafts and craft making of the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Let's go straight into it. The term 공예, which refers to crafts, did not exist before the modern era. Prior to this, there were specific terms for different materials, such as 금공 for metalwork, 목공 for woodworking, 도공 for ceramics. The term 공예 first appeared in Korean literature in 1881 in 일사짐략, a collection of observations by Lee Hyun-young from Japan. Initially, 공예 encompassed both handmade crafts and machine-produced items. However, around 1908, as handmade crafts and machine production began to be distinguished, the concept of fine arts crafts, or 미술 공예, was actively introduced to specifically refer to handmade crafts. The Government Industrial School, established in 1907, was a modern technical education institution with 6 major fields: ceramics, dyeing, woodworking, metalworking, applied chemistry, and civil engineering. It pursued the mechanization of crafts. In contrast, the hands-on craft manufactory, established in 1908 and later renamed as the Iwangjik Craft Manufactory in 1911, and then as a Chosun Craft Manufactory from 1922 to 1937, was responsible for the production of royal crafts and led the development of handmade crafts. As the establishment's production gradually reflected the taste of Japanese consumers, crafts and their styles also reflected this trend. For instance, elaborate lacquerwares and lacquered furniture were popular items, while few metalwares were produced. The interpretation of crafts as artworks was furthered with the establishment of the government general-led annual Chosun Art Exhibition. The exhibition emerged as a leading platform for artists during the colonial period. Being chosen to display their work and winning awards at the exhibition became the primary means of self-promotion and gaining recognition in the art market. The crafts division at the Chosun Art Exhibition was established from the 11th exhibition in November 1932, indicating that crafts were included in the realm of fine arts. From the 14th exhibition onward, sculpture, previously part of the Western Painting Division, was integrated into the crafts division, thereby enhancing the artistic scope of crafts. Crafts played an important role in the representation of a country in the 19th and 20th centuries. They were not only tied to the artisanal sophistication of a country, but also to its industrial capabilities and modernization efforts. During this period, world fairs and international exhibitions became crucial platforms for showcasing national craftsmanship and technological advancements. These events provided countries with opportunities to display their cultural heritage and industrial progress on a global stage, highlighting their competitiveness and modernization. The interplay between traditional craftsmanship and modern industry thus became a significant factor in how Korea and other East Asian nations were viewed by the West. Continuing our discussion of traditional Chosun crafts from our last session, let's take a look at some specific trends that appear from the 19th century. As we discussed in week 2, Korea faced many socio-political changes in the late 19th century, which had a pervasive impact on all aspects of life, even on crafts. New imported products were introduced as trade, both official and unofficial, increased in the late Chosun period. For instance, glass mirrors became popular among women. Although glass mirrors entered Korea from the 17th century, it had been banned due to its high price and extravagance associated with it in the 18th century, only becoming popularized as a daily life commodity from the 19th century. As a result, many new designs of jewelry boxes and chests that had glass mirrors attached were produced from the 19th century, while traditional bronze mirrors were quickly replaced by glass mirrors. New clothing were imported after the opening of ports. With the import of Western cotton, wool, and silk, materials used to make clothes were diversified. However, A more conspicuous change was the introduction of Western clothes to Korea. The introduction of Western attire was limited to the progressive socio-economic elite in the late 19th century. Not only were they the few who could afford imported goods, but they were receptive to new modern fashion, unlike the majority of the public, who found modern hairstyles and fashion strange and even unvirtuous. It was only during the colonial period that ordinary citizens also began to don Western suits and dresses, carry pocket watches and handbags. Even then, many chose to continue to wear traditional hanbok. Western tableware were also a new addition to crafts in Korea. The use of Western tableware in Korea began in court. As more Western guests were received, the court catered to their customs by serving Western meals and drinks. The court often imported vessels and cutlery from France, the UK, and Japan, and had them embellished with a new imperial emblem. The court imported various types of tableware, including gravy boats, casseroles, dinner plates, silverware, and more. Gojong himself was a fan of newly introduced Western food, and it is said that he enjoyed waffles with coffee. The use of these Western tableware was also slowly popularized among the general public. In the colonial period, Western restaurants and cafes began to emerge in city centers, especially around the newly developed Namcheon area of Seoul. Going to these establishments became fashionable among the affluent, intellectuals, and artists, and Western dining and crafts associated with it became commonplace. Western meals and drinks were served on Western-style dining tables. European styles were preferred for new furniture, such as tables, chairs, and desks. The imperial court imported furniture from various companies, including Maple & Co., a British furniture company. Many rooms of the palace were also decorated with carpet and curtains, most of them used to receive guests. In addition to new imported crafts, the 19th century saw a trending popularity of particular types and styles of crafts. A new trend emerged in court embroideries and decorative paintings. As mentioned in previous sessions, gold embroidered or painted folding screens began to be produced in court, particularly during the Korean Empire period. These screens reflected the increasing influence of Japan. Japan was an important reference not only in their modernization agendas, but also in their visual culture and aesthetics. As Korea emulated Japan's success in modernization and westernization, it also emulated their arts. The reception of Japanese crafts was highly positive in the West. Japanese politicians actively promoted crafts to demonstrate the artisanal skills and aesthetic senses that differed from China. Japan participated in many world fairs and showcased their crafts to the West from the 1873 Vienna World's Fair. The more modernized Japan became, the more their arts and crafts were taken seriously and admired by Westerners. Gold folding screens were associated with Japanese arts and crafts. Historically, Japanese gold folding screens that were either painted with gold pigment or applied with gold leaf were used in Japanese interiors to divide spaces, provide privacy, and serve as decorative elements. They were often found in important rooms such as tea rooms, reception areas, and temples. Japanese gold folding screens were used as diplomatic gifts, particularly during the Edo period and the Meiji period, as they were considered luxurious and prestigious, making them valuable gifts for high-ranking officials and foreign dignitaries. Moreover, by presenting these screens, Japan could showcase its refined artistic traditions and craftsmanship. Korea also began to produce similar gold folding screens in the Korean Empire period. In the Joseon period, gold was associated with extravagance. Even when gifted with Japanese folding screens, there was concern over its extreme lavishness and potential harm to moral frugality. However, toward the late Joseon period, folding screens slowly came into fashion, and their light-reflecting and illuminating quality and the gradation technique in gold pigment shading became revered and emulated in limited degrees. The creation of gold folding screens in the Korean Empire period most likely resulted from the desire to use gold as an imperial color and to visually express the new and elevated status of the Korean Empire and the new emperor. As Korea interacted more with Western cultures, hybrid styles emerged, blending traditional Korean elements with Western influences. This fusion was seen in various craft forms, including textiles and furniture, where traditional Korean patterns were combined with Western design principles. As mentioned before, imported material like cotton were frequently used to make traditional clothes such as hanbok, while Korean craft makers were gradually educated to learn Western craft making and industrial technology. Japan also played an important role in educating Korean craft makers. Many Japanese instructors were employed at the government industrial school to train students in modern craft-making skills and further industrial and technical capabilities. The establishment of the school was seen as a solution to investing in huge expenses to send students to Japan to learn these skills there. However, as there were insufficient Korean teachers and instructors with the required expertise, many classes were led by Japanese specialists. This session has been on the types and styles of crafts produced in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. In the following session, I will talk about crafts of the Korean Empire. See you soon.